Welcome back to Porterverse Stats, the series where we dive into the technical side of the engines of Sodor as they are presented in my AU, which is called the Porterverse. For this episode, we will cover the original banking engine of Gordon's Hill, the strongest engine to ever work on Sodor, the almighty Antares. For those new to this series, we usually go into their technical side of stuff, and also a little bit exposition or how they came about, depending if it's needed. In Terry's case, we'll go into a little bit exposition about how he came about and why he exists, and then go into all of his technical stuff and any mods he received over the years. Now then, without further ado, let's begin. Gordon's Hill is a massive incline. It's like saying water is wet, I know, but yeah. One of the sharpest gradients on Sodor. A 325-foot climb across 5.5 miles at a 1.75% incline. Yeah, it's pretty steep for engines. Needless to say, this hill caused all sorts of grief for the old roads of Sodor, and later the Northwestern Railway. After the Gordon's Hill incident in the 20s, where the express got stuck, development began on a dedicated banking engine that would specifically stay at Wellsworth just for pushing trains up the hill. The works ran through multiple prototypes over the years, all of which had some sort of fault and failed in some way. But eventually, by 1937, they hit the jackpot, and the engine that emerged a success was none other than Antares. Antares was, or still is, a massive locomotive. He is an 010-4T of complete custom design. All drivers were the same size that would later be copied by the British Railway's 9Fs. Kind of a weird coincidence there. The valve gear was also a custom design, though it wouldn't be untrue to say that DLMS's Big Bertha was inspiration. Antares weighed 75 tons and had initial boiler pressure of 190 psi, an attractive effort of 43,000 pounds per force exactly. Antares had 4 trailing wheels purely to accommodate his bunker and stability when reversing down the hill, as he'd been mostly just going up and down all day every day. Antares also had a single dome on top in his original condition, and also a standard funnel. Antares was a massive success. He banked so many trains up Gordon's Hill for around 20 years or so with ease. Antares would also wear Northwestern Indigo, a livery unique only to him for the longest time. 1957 was when British Railway started breathing down the Northwestern region's neck. You see, during this time, the heads of BR wanted the region to use more diesels, hence why diesel showed up in the 50s. They also wanted Antares scrapped and replaced with a 9F, as they had done with Big Bertha. Charles Hatt, having a slight factor in the design, was not keen on doing this, especially after how Diesel's visit came out. He effectively told them to piss off, and he said he will have Antares completely overhauled with his own designs, and he would pay for it partly himself. British Railways begrudgingly agreed, and the overhaul commenced. Antares was taken out of service right when Duck was being sent to Wellsworth during his whole time with Diesel and everything. Duck and Thorkel, and sometimes Edward, would fill in for Antares during his overhaul. The few months of agony pushing these trains up this steep hill were quick, at least, as Antares returned a few months later and much stronger than before. Antares, in his rebuild condition, saw his boiler pressure increase to 220 psi. His sandboxes were placed on top of his boiler, akin to the likes of Porter over at Napa Harbor. All 4 of his cylinders were increased in size to about 20 inches. He was also given a superheated smoke box as well, a little nod from the A3s. His cold bunker capacity was increased slightly, going in between his windows, and even his cab windows were replaced with larger ones for better visibility. And on top of all of that, he was also given a Giesel ejector funnel to somewhat minimize waste. Even though this didn't do much, it still stayed regardless. Antares emerged in his rebuilt state with attractive effort now increased to over 45,000 pounds per force and some change. Yeah, bro was freaking jacked for a steam engine. If BR didn't ignore him in the charts out of embarrassment, Antares would technically be classified as a 10F, I guess. More like 9 and change, I believe, but yeah, he's pretty powerful. And Antares was now stronger than ever before, banking even larger trains than before with more ease. His original indigo livery returned in the early 70s, replacing his boring BR black livery. Antares would later be joined by Bell, and she will become the secondary banker. While not as strong in terms of design, she would also fill in for lighter trains and whenever Antares was on maintenance or on a break. Antares himself is still the strongest engine on Sodor, and that's not going to change anytime soon. He is still in active service to this very day. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all same time next week.